going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. To bring you guys today more of a general topic discussion of all of the back and forth the Eazy, the blog captain, is having right now. Post Ill Will battle, he is back to a full, confident media run, talking his shit, who he's better than, body of work, what matchups he does want next, right? What that's led to is a ton of back and forth with tons of different battlers. And listen, he's no stranger to back and forth, right? Had a ton last year, but what's the difference between last year and now? I feel like last year was fully drama out of the ring base damn near, right? Even though he did end up having a good year on paper, a lot of that is not topics I want to discuss because they were never going to lead to battles. We're just talking about all types of stuff with Eazy, right? And plus, he handled it poorly. We're going to get into all that in the Froze portion of this, which is one of the opponents that he's having a possible back and forth with, right? And even that is leaning more in the drama direction than the rest of these. But all of these could be possible matchups. Pretty much every one of them is based around the fact of one of these people wanting to battle Eazy, and I think that there's a lot of interest in that. I think that that's productive. Drama is a part of battle rap. It has always been a part of battle rap. The problem is when the drama is fully out of the ring and non-battle related, as opposed to this, where this can all be built up into some type of situation, you know what I'm saying, built up into raps, which is why it's a topic that I have much more opinions on for the most part. So we're going to talk about all these different matchups. At the end, probably I'll put up like a little list or something of like the ones I want most out of these what we'll call tier 2 matchups, because Eazy did go on Champion and talk about the battles that he wants next. And listen, he's talking about making a run next year with opponents like Murda Mook, Tay-Rock, Big K, Rum Nitty, right? Like this, I feel like either some of the absolute best or some of the absolute highest profiles for the most part active right now. So not that these aren't great battlers, but I know that these matchups here are something maybe we could see one of these before the year is out if he's saving those bigger matchups for next year, but they range in importance to me, right? And the first one we'll start out with actually is kind of this idea of Eazy battling a woman, but particularly Eazy and 40 Bars, who have been going back and forth pretty much as Eazy has been damn near with everyone, probably aside from Froze. And just, I can't remember where the exact origin of it was, but I know that 40 said, at the beginning of the year, I just wanted Slade and Eazy, and now I've ended up with, Danny, Twerk, Sharon, Av, she just got announced for prom night. We're going to talk about that card sooner rather than later. Goes from there, and then they started going back and forth, right? All types of disrespect and, talk about maybe possibly rapping or something of that nature. And I saw that Eazy put a tweet out saying, if I had to battle a female, which one do you think it would be? And the answer is pretty much synonymously, are either Miss Hustle or 40 Bars. And if I had to pick between the two of them, listen, I do think that Hustle, in terms of modern active battle rap, we got to see what this 40 run is, right? Because who knows, maybe she's making a Wody run here at the back half of the year. I believe that is like the intention of this kind of schedule. But I do think Hustle is still up there for, if not the best active female battle rapper in the world, like right there, tied. It's almost like a preferential conversation. I still feel like Jazz, Coffee, and Hustle are all up there fighting for it right now. But due to the kind of, dramatic back and forth that Hustle and Eazy have had in the past, plus the more dominant performative nature, maybe matching Eazy in star quality, I would prefer Hustle and Eazy. I even saw Hustle throwing some shots at him there. So I don't think it's very necessary for Eazy to battle a woman right now anyways. I do want to see him do it at least once at one point in his career, because I believe that's just part of, if you want to be the best in the game, the most all-around, respected, you go through every situation. You go through road games, you go through home games, you go through different style matchups, and one of those is battling a lady. And I don't think Eazy and 40 would be, like, bad by any means, you know what I'm saying? Especially in a smaller room. I think that Eazy would beat 40 Bars right now. I just think he has the particular qualities for that matchup. But like I said, 40 started off great with this Flames win. I do have her as a favorite going into winning a couple of these battles on the run going in. And if she's able to beat a Twerker and Av, right, one that I think are harder matchups for her, maybe it would show me that, this is a better matchup for her than I'm giving it credit for. So I'm not going to say like 40 versus Eazy is like an uninteresting matchup per se, but to me it's on like the lighter side of some of these call-outs, and plus she's a very busy schedule with all types of great battles coming up. So just one of the few, trash talking moments, but that whole topic of Eazy battling a woman, you guys let me know in the comments down below. Would you rather see Hustle? Would you rather see 40? Or is there like a whole other, a Jazz or another female battle rapper realistically that you'd want to see go get that plate? So that's kind of the first set. Then from there, we could talk a little bit about Eazy versus Av, and even Eazy versus Swamp. But there's a little bit of difference between the two matchups. But it's still two opponents he discredited immediately on this media run. And with Av particularly, Av had tweeted, I told Eazy, don't call me back for the trenches unless it's to battle him. And Eazy's going to go and quote that tweet and say, and I told you, thanks for coming then. Which is obviously, downplaying him and disrespecting him a bit. And it's one of those where I think that Av is very much so a worthwhile opponent for Eazy, the block captain. I think outside of kind of that core, like we talked about, Mook, Rock, K, Nitty, right? Like if that's what he's looking at, I do think it would be maybe like profile-wise a small step back from that, but it's still very high profile, and it's Eazy wants to battle top-tier opponents across the board. Av most definitely fits that bill. And one could argue with them both catching 30s on this Trenches card, it makes it make more sense. With Eazy beating Will, you also had the battle before, Av 30 and Hollow. So they both caught big 30s on the card. Av over a God tier. So for me, it's one of those where if Av and Eazy got booked, it would not make sense. It's fire. It fits in. I just do understand, though, with some of those other matchups Eazy's referring to and talking about, I can understand him not taking Av immediately if he lines up with someone that is just as competitive and just as hard to beat. I know it is one of the top matchups out there for Av, so I completely understand him saying, listen, I have the skills to do this. I have the momentum right now to get, to win this battle and even make this battle happen, and I think you're ducking. I can't be mad at Av for pitching it that way at all, but I also can't be mad at Eazy if he was to pop out with one of those four names I said or another high-level top-tier name that he has more history with. Life would move on. You know what I'm saying? Now, did he go and try to downplay Av a little more than necessary? Absolutely. Did the same thing with Swamp, which we'll talk about. But same way Av has that right to say Eazy's scared, he won't pop out for the real wreck. Eazy has the right to say my schedule just completely says otherwise with the amount of legends that I've battled. And you would just be another legend in there, but maybe with less of that kind of draw that I'd get from these other matchups. So with that one, it's wreck that I would like to see one day. I do think it is a very, very worthwhile legend and really Hall of Famer that Eazy could add to his resume. But I do understand it not being like a super pressing matter here at the end of the year. And same goes for the Swamp battle. And these are my two favorite matchups out of all these that we're going to talk about. I love Eazy versus Swamp the most. I really like Eazy versus Av. And he downplayed both. And with Swamp, I feel like he almost went a little, they're all talking shit either way, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely wasn't bought in with the way that he was pitching the Swamp thing, because Swamp is not like a mid-tier opponent. It feels like he's making it out to be. Swamp is a full-on top tier at this point, and his body of work, similar to these other guys, speaks for itself. What he just did to Averb, win over New Jersey Twerk, Tay-Rock battle, judged win over Rum Nitty, judged win and really a whooping versus Fonz in a tournament setting where Fonz is typically at his best. More top tiers and other wins in there that, I'm not going to mention the guy's entire resume, but you get the gist of things. Swamp is very a stock positive battler right now, and I love the fact that it would be same class. Although Swamp wasn't in UM1, he is part of the UM1 class. In terms of they were all brought in under that same time and considered all part of that same crop of talent. So I love the whole class versus class thing, especially now since they're both top tier. It's not like when they were in UM1, which is, really the last time Eazy battled anyone from his class, when they were battling in rounds versus Don, and it's like they were battling each other on the come up. Both of them are proven at this point, and it would be a full new era based super fight. You know what I mean? Eazy and Swamp are two guys that are from that class, have taken separate ways to get to pretty much the top. Obviously, I think Eazy more on a profile level is bigger, but with the win Swamp has been having, listen, on the Trenches and Chrome weekend, while Eazy headlined the Trenches, Swamp headlined Chrome. So obviously, he's a very important battler. You know what I'm saying? So you bring class versus class, right? You bring the fact that it's a match fully from the new era that's big, not needing the vet talents to really make it happen or draw. And then you bring in the style factor. I just think that Eazy and Swamp styles would be great against each other. It's a lot of tailored, talk to him type of material. They can both get in an angle bag. They can both get in a punching bag. I just view them as more all-around talents. I'd probably view Swamp as more of how do you categorize him? You know what I'm saying? So I guess he's more unorthodox, while Eazy I consider more of a surgical, straight-up battler. But they're both great because they hop into a lot of different bags to get to the way to victory. So for me, it's one of those that, once again, I understand when you got Mook and Nitty and Rock, and like these are the plates that you're looking at. Even though Av and Swamp are great battles, I can understand those being like a level below in terms of importance or prevalence to get to. But to me, those are the ones that out of all these, I really find the most interesting. And if Eazy is going to knock out maybe a battle or two before he gets to this big run he's speaking of, I still want to see him versus Shotgun Suge. That has not stopped, and he's mentioned that a few times recently. So I'm kind of hoping that's a battle we see before the year's out because of the history they have, although Suge hasn't been looking good as of recent. But like I said, more backstory. Same reason I wanted Eazy and John when that ended up happening, right? I do hope that maybe one of these matchups could also fit in, because I think, if you're just kind of trying to finish out a good year, I don't think anybody would be mad if your year looked like, what is it, Clips, Will, Av, and Suge, or Clips, Will, Suge and Swamp, you know what I'm saying? Or Av and Swamp, whatever. So those matchups I have the most kind of positive thoughts on, particularly like those two, because those are ones that I kind of would want to see, but I'd understand if they didn't go down. And then you got the whole Eazy and PA, Eazy and Froze, Eazy and Bill, right? Which, in terms of the Eazy and Bill thing, I just think it files more into the Av and Swamp type of matchups. I saw that there was some space, that Rose and Bill were going to Eazy. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I thought Bill was just talking competitive shit, right? Can he beat you? No, he can't. And even Eazy and Bill had that conversation in the spaces. I thought Bill made good points with that. But it's one of those that I don't see happening, in the immediate future. I know Eazy said if I came over to Battle Academy, I'd battle Bill Collector there. I don't think that'd be a bad battle. Same way I feel about Eazy and Swamp. Same way I feel about Eazy and Av. It's just not... I don't see it happening next for either of them or within the next few battles. Doesn't mean it can't happen one day. Doesn't mean they wouldn't be a great addition to each other's resume. But just another one of those that got thrown out there in the mixture of this whole Eazy and Froze debate, which is like the main point of this, because they have fallen out for the fourth time publicly again. And it seems like this one traces back to, if I can summarize it quickly, not going back to the podcast and all that, what this situation is about. Eazy had Froze do a 2-battle deal with the trenches, right? That's what it's supposed to be and it was going to start with Av, which obviously went down, and it sounds like it was going to be, the next battle was going to be Cortez for X amount of money. I don't know if they put that amount out there, right? And that Eazy came back after the Av battle and said, actually, instead of this, and a few other opponents he went through, instead of Av, I think they threw Verb out there. Thank God. Nobody wants to see Froze and Verb, respectfully. But it came down, he said, well, here's $2,500 in MUAP on the trenches. Very different deal, obviously, what it sounds like Froze was being offered up front. And he was like, I'm doing this because I lost money booking you. Basically, like, you haven't been a great piece for me in the times that I have booked you. So here's this kind of step down in competition. And Rose wants him to stand on what he said in the beginning. Honor your agreement. And that's went into the whole... Froze is a clout chaser. He just wants a battle for me. I put him on. Eazy, I held you down when you were behind the scenes panicking and the podcast was falling through and all that, and you were lying and all that. I held you down. And listen, I think that there's validity on both sides, and people don't always want to hear that. But I think, okay, you look on like the battlefront of things, right? When it comes to Froze and Eazy, I could say out of all these matchups, we've talked about Av, we talked about Swamp, Bill, the possibility of a 40 and Hustle, right? Not even talking about these other matchups, that tier 1 matchups we spoke on, right? I do feel like the Froze battle is at like the bottom of this stack. It has the most personal storyline of it. I mean, these guys have been going back and forth for a minute. Their careers for the last year or two have been quite intertwined. But just straight battle-wise, listen, Eazy just got back on his high horse with the Will performance, and Froze is on a streak of not so good. You know what I'm saying? I know that the Arsenal battle I didn't like. I had Arsenal winning. I think that you could debate that Froze won the battle too. I don't think it's a good battle at all. I talked about the full circle battles. I didn't like that look for him. Obviously, he choked and lost the Av battle. The Mike P battle he goes back to. He's been saying that's a top 5 battle of 2023. Listen, it's a positive look. I'm not downplaying and say it's bad. It wasn't a top 5 battle of 2023. But it was a good battle and a good trenches main event battle as well. So I will say, like, even though he does have that mic battle, and I thought he made more noise around when he beat Will himself and when he had the Clips battle going down, I do feel like his last 3 haven't looked like that. Like, it's been kind of a quick and sharp decline for these last few. So in terms of, like, the battle stock or Eazy taking the matchup, all of these other opponents, I think, would give him a harder fight. A lot of these still have storyline to it, so it still have tension and be personable. It's not like it's the only grudge match that he would have on the board. And I just think it clearly, on the battle-wise side, benefits Froze like a ton more than it benefits Eazy. And you could say that for a few matchups, that it would benefit one side more than it would benefit Eazy's side of the equation. But particularly with this one, I think it would be a one-sided booking. However, in terms of this whole behind the scenes, Eazy Lion, Froze feeling like kind of pissed off with the situation, it seems like every time behind the scenes info leaks with Eazy and kind of these bridges that get burnt, I do end up looking at it like a bad look for Eazy. I do think that he handled things atrociously, which he's pretty much said himself that back when the whole Papoose, Remy, all that, the situation, the drama, and everything afterwards, I think it was already, crazy angle happens in battle rap, but I think the way he handled himself and went about things with the random tweets where he would like disappear for a month and then come out and like bomb on Danny Myers and Miss Hustle. You know what I'm saying? And not the people directly going at him at the time. There was so many things that he handled poor. And Rose obviously did hold him down. I mean, we can watch. I think most of us pretty clearly knew the lies and bullshit we were being fed. That interview when they both popped out was a completely like facilitated and manufactured one, like not very natural. So I'm with, in a sense, like I understand where Froze is coming from, and I think this is another example where people are going to look at Eazy kind of crazy. I see they're still going back and forth with some of the lies that he gets caught in, and that's just the nature of some poor decision making outside of the ring. So in terms of those optics, because some people don't even care for the raps, they just want to talk about the drama optics and who's winning that. So if you go by that, I feel like if you look at the blogs, there is some things that Froze is saying that are very valid. You know what I'm saying? You can understand the frustrations of getting offered a deal up front, even if the guy is losing. And maybe he's not worth what you thought he was worth up front when you got into the two battles. You still follow through because, as Froze said, it is an investment. It's not something where you can just change halfway through the deal. That's just not how deals work. But the problem is, even if I think that he's morally right in that regard, I don't feel like that should just automatically lead to a battle when the style matchup of it and really the stock of either of them right now doesn't make that much sense. So it's another one of those where, listen, on the argument tip, does he have a valid argument for why this bridge is burnt in the way it's burnt, right, with Eazy? Listen, there's a lot of people that could tell a similar story about burning a bridge with Eazy and not being happy with the result. So I do sympathize with Rose in that sense, but I'm not going to lie, this situation as a whole does not make me want to see the matchup anymore. It's a matchup I'm not that interested in. Now, if it got booked, Battle Academy or something like that, like, listen, it's not like it would be on paper and I'd be like, ugh, like, this is ugly by any means. They have a conversation to have, but I do think it's a matchup that I would have Eazy winning by kind of a lopsided amount right now, compared to some of these others where I think these could be real fights. Like, I would have Eazy, I'd predict him to win a good amount of these battles, but I see much more danger in a Swamp matchup, in an Av matchup, even maybe in a Bill matchup than I do in an Eazy versus Froze matchup. So that's kind of my opinions on all of these like current back and forth he has going on. I know people want to hear about the Froze situation. I kind of had more to say about Av and Swamp because I like the battles more, but just trying to get my full thoughts on everything. And also, if there is anything else to speak on, I guess it's not directly matchup related with Eazy, but Trenches versus Battle Academy. Eazy, I think he mentioned this morning, I didn't watch it yet, but I saw a clip saying that even though they've still been arguing for the last month or 2 months publicly, that Eazy and a Stiz Battle Academy patched it up behind the scenes, and we're doing that to still kind of market their way into the Trenches versus Battle Academy card, which, funny enough, going all the way back to when Eazy first said Trenches is the best league in Philly. At the time, he had no roster. He had booked like one card, maybe two, with no homegrown talent. I thought it was a ridiculous statement. It was definitely a ridiculous statement at the time it was made. Gotta give the guy credit for calling his shot, though, because now, with Trenches obviously now having the homegrown talent they have, I would have Trenches clearing a Battle Academy in a league versus league card. I'm a bigger believer definitely in what King and Tex, and then you can go to like Muop and more, what they've brought compared to like the Top Floor Crew, News, some of the Battle Academy talents. Now, there's still excitement for that because it's Philly. You know what I'm saying? It would be the fight for a region, and there's some pridefulness to that you just can't make up with other matchups. So if it's a card that still gets booked, I'm not mad at it. But even that, I would have much more lopsided toward the trenches now than originally when they didn't even have guys to compete in the matchup. So that's just an example of all the different stuff going on. And I'll probably put my list right here of how of the order of the matchups in terms of how I like them. But I'd love the Swamp matchup. I'd even love the Av matchup. I think that I think it's less likely to happen, but I wouldn't mind an Eazy versus a Hustle. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about Eazy versus 40. Wouldn't be bad though. You know, it's still all like recognizable talent. Or Eazy versus Bill. These are just less likely to happen, but still good to me. And then Eazy versus Froze, without really disrespecting either of them, I just don't think stock wise, style wise, or competitively that battle makes sense right now. That's my full thoughts on it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. If you believe in my theory that these are kind of tier 2 matchups, I don't say that in disrespect at all, but I say it in the sense of really realism over anything. I think it's less realistic, which is why I put it a tier down. Some of these guys are the same level of calm, but do any of these you want to see before the year ends? Do you think any of these battles fit in that category with the Big K and Tay-Rock plates that he kind of wants coming up? And also, even though it's a video based around the Eazy back and forth and talked about it, I want to say congrats to Frozen Bros on doing commentary for the King of the Dot Massacre 6 stream. I think that they could be incredible in there. I thought Froze was a standout commentator for Max Out 3, and I'm very looking forward to what they can add to that event going into it. But it's been J Smo Reviews again, y'all. As I said, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about all these matchups and controversy. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.